A struggling single dad asked a stranger for a ride, and never imagined she was a guardian angel in disguise. But before we begin, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that kindness still exists in the world, and you never know when one small moment might change someone's life forever. The rain had been falling since early morning, the kind of cold, stubborn rain that seemed determined to soak through every layer of clothing and every layer of hope. Daniel Carter stood on the side of the highway holding his 5-year-old daughter Lily close to his chest beneath a worn-out jacket. Cars rushed past, spraying water across the cracked pavement, none of them slowing down. Daniel looked down at Lily. Her small face was pale, and she coughed softly against his shoulder. "Daddy, are we going to the doctor soon?" she whispered. He forced a smile he didn't feel. "Yeah, sweetheart, we'll get there." But inside, his heart was breaking. 2 years earlier, Daniel's life had looked completely different. He had a steady job at a small furniture factory, a modest home, and a wife named Sarah who filled their tiny kitchen with laughter. Lily had been just 3 years old then, always dancing around the living room with her favorite stuffed rabbit. Then the accident happened. A rainy night, a distracted truck driver, and everything changed. Sarah never came home. The grief had crushed Daniel, but Lily needed him. So he kept going. He worked longer hours, learned to braid her hair badly every morning, packed her school lunches, and tried to be both parents at once. But life didn't make it easy. 6 months after Sarah's death, the factory closed down. Daniel searched for work everywhere, construction sites, warehouses, delivery jobs, but nothing lasted. Bills piled up, savings disappeared. Eventually, the bank took the house. Now they lived in a tiny rented room above an old grocery store on the edge of town. And this morning had started like every other difficult day, until Lily woke up with a fever. At first Daniel thought it was just a cold, but then she began coughing harder, struggling to breathe between small cries. The nearest clinic was 20 miles away. Normally he would have taken the bus, but that morning the buses weren't running because of a strike. So Daniel did the only thing he could think of. He started walking. For 2 hours he carried Lily along the long highway that led to the city clinic. The rain kept falling. His shoes were soaked. His arms ached from holding her. When Lily's breathing became worse, panic began tightening in his chest. He stepped closer to the road and raised his hand, trying to signal passing cars. One car passed, then another, and another. No one stopped. Some drivers glanced at him and quickly looked away. Others didn't notice him at all. Daniel felt invisible. Finally, exhausted and desperate, he sat down on a small concrete barrier beside the road. Lily rested weakly against his chest. "Daddy," she whispered. "I'm here," he said softly. Her small fingers clutched his jacket. He didn't know what to do anymore. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, a silver SUV slowed down in the rain. Daniel barely noticed at first. But the car pulled onto the shoulder and stopped a few feet away. The window rolled down, and a woman leaned slightly out. She looked to be in her early 40s, with calm eyes and dark hair tied back neatly. Her voice was gentle but direct. "Do you need help?" Daniel hesitated. Pride told him not to beg. But Lily coughed again, and that pride disappeared instantly. "Yes," he said quietly. "My daughter is sick. I'm trying to get her to the clinic." The woman glanced at Lily and immediately opened the door. "Get in," she said. Daniel blinked, surprised. "Are you sure?" "Of course. Hurry." He carefully climbed into the back seat with Lily. The warmth inside the car felt almost unreal after hours in the rain. As the SUV pulled back onto the highway, the woman looked at them through the rearview mirror. "What's her name?" "Lily. And yours?" "Daniel." "I'm Evelyn," she said. They drove for a few minutes in silence except for the sound of rain tapping against the windshield. Evelyn kept glancing at Lily. "She's burning up," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "It started this morning. You should have gone to the hospital earlier." "I tried," he said, his voice tight. "No buses today." Evelyn didn't respond immediately, but something in her expression changed, something thoughtful. When they reached the city, Daniel expected her to stop at the small clinic. Instead, she drove past it. The clinic was back there," he said nervously. "I know," Evelyn replied calmly. "Then, I'm taking you somewhere better." 20 minutes later, the SUV pulled into the entrance of a large hospital. Daniel's eyes widened. "I can't afford this place," he said quickly. Evelyn parked the car and turned to face him. "Don't worry about that right now. Your daughter needs help." Before Daniel could argue, she was already stepping out of the car. Inside the hospital, nurses rushed Lily into an examination room. Doctors moved quickly, asking questions and checking her breathing. Daniel stood against the wall, feeling helpless and terrified. After what felt like hours, but was really only 30 minutes, a doctor approached him. "Your daughter has a severe lung infection," he said. "But you brought her just in time. She'll be okay." Daniel's legs nearly gave out with relief. "Thank you," he whispered. When he turned around to thank Evelyn, she was speaking quietly with the hospital receptionist. He walked over nervously. "Thank you for bringing us," he said. I don't know how to repay you." Evelyn smiled softly. "You don't need to." The receptionist suddenly stood up straighter. "Dr. Hayes," she said respectfully. "The pediatric team is ready." Daniel frowned. "Drive, Hayes." Evelyn looked slightly embarrassed. "Yes," she said gently. "That's me." Daniel stared at her in shock. "You're a doctor?" "I'm the chief pediatric specialist here." For a moment he couldn't speak. The stranger who stopped to help him wasn't just anyone. She was the exact doctor Lily needed. Evelyn placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Your daughter is in good hands." Over the next 3 days, Lily remained in the hospital receiving treatment. Daniel barely left her side. But something else happened during those days. Evelyn kept checking in, not just as a doctor, but as someone who genuinely cared. She asked about Daniel's life, his work, his struggles, and slowly, he told her everything. One evening she found him asleep in a chair beside Lily's bed, exhaustion written across his face. The next morning, Evelyn sat across from him with a thoughtful expression. "Daniel," she said, "I have a question." He looked up nervously. "Okay, you used to work in furniture manufacturing, right?" "Yes. Our hospital recently opened a children's therapy center," she said. "We need someone skilled with woodworking to build therapy equipment and furniture." Daniel blinked. "You mean a job? If you're interested." For the first time in years, Daniel felt something unfamiliar. Hope. A week later, Lily was healthy enough to go home. And Daniel started his new job. Months passed. Life slowly began improving. Daniel moved into a small apartment. Lily started school again. Laughter returned to their lives. One afternoon, Lily ran into Evelyn's office holding a small wooden box Daniel had made. "Daddy made this for you," she said proudly. Evelyn opened it. Inside was a carved message. "Thank you for stopping." Evelyn smiled warmly. Sometimes the smallest act, pulling over for a stranger in the rain, can change everything. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us the world still holds miracles. Because sometimes, angels don't have wings. Sometimes they just drive by at the exact moment you need them most.